Welcome to Streaming News Network, where we deliver balanced reporting with the facts that matter. Evening Edition by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A former executive director of the Dunn Housing Authority in North Carolina has been sentenced to 2 years in federal prison after admitting to a scheme that misused taxpayer funds intended for public housing. 64-year-old Debbie Waddell began working for the Housing Authority in 1989 and eventually became executive director in 2014. Federal prosecutors said that while overseeing 143 public housing units, she used agency credit cards for personal expenses, diverted cash, and took household appliances intended for tenants for use at her own home. Investigators also said she made personal purchases that included more than $4,000 in all-terrain vehicle equipment and accessories. Waddell originally faced multiple federal charges, including conspiracy to steal federal funds, making false statements, and theft involving government money. Court records show her husband also pleaded guilty to conspiracy as part of the case. He was sentenced to 3 years of supervised release and ordered, along with Waddell, to pay restitution totaling $207,233 to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Federal officials said the case demonstrates that those who misuse public funds meant to serve vulnerable residents will face significant legal consequences. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A viral social media claim is drawing widespread attention after alleging that Oregon Governor Tina Kotek signed a bill eliminating math, reading, and writing requirements for high school graduation to help students of color. The claim appeared on Facebook and X, accompanied by an image of the governor and a caption stating that the changes were intended to remove barriers affecting students of color and other underserved groups. However, independent fact-checkers determined the claim originated as satire and should not be treated as a factual news report. While Oregon has debated and modified certain graduation policies in recent years, there is no evidence that Governor Kotek signed legislation removing math, reading, and writing graduation requirements for the purpose described in the viral posts. The misleading claim spread rapidly across social media after being shared without its original satirical context, leading many users to believe it was genuine. As with many viral stories, experts recommend verifying claims through official state education sources and credible news organizations before sharing them online. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A Ryanair flight traveling from Thessaloniki, Greece, to Memmingen, Germany, was forced to return shortly after takeoff when a passenger window became dislodged during flight. According to airline officials, the aircraft landed safely back in Thessaloniki after the crew declared an emergency. One passenger received medical assistance on the ground for injuries and shock following the incident. Some early media reports claimed the passenger was partially pulled through the opening after the window came loose. However, those accounts have not been independently confirmed by aviation investigators or the airline. Passengers reported hearing a loud noise before oxygen masks deployed as the aircraft turned back. Flight tracking data indicates the aircraft reversed course at an altitude of approximately 16,000 feet and landed safely just over 1 hour after departure. Ryanair arranged a replacement aircraft to transport passengers to Germany later that morning. The Hellenic Air and Rail Safety Investigation Authority has opened an investigation into the incident, with assistance from the United States National Transportation Safety Board. Officials are working to determine how the window became dislodged and whether additional safety measures are needed. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. The United States Department of Justice says it will not comply with a Milwaukee ordinance that prohibits federal immigration agents from wearing face masks during enforcement operations, setting the stage for a possible court battle over federal and local authority. In a letter sent to Milwaukee city officials, the Justice Department argued the ordinance is unconstitutional under the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, which generally provides that federal law takes precedence over conflicting state and local laws. Federal officials have asked the city to confirm by July 17 that the ordinance will not be enforced against immigration agents. Milwaukee leaders have defended the measure, saying it was adopted to promote transparency and accountability during immigration enforcement. City officials have expressed concerns that masked officers operating in public and using unmarked vehicles can create confusion and erode public trust. Federal officials counter that face coverings are necessary to protect immigration officers and their families from threats and harassment while carrying out their duties. As of now, federal immigration agents are expected to continue wearing masks during enforcement operations in Milwaukee while the legal dispute unfolds. No court has yet ruled on the validity of the ordinance. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. An international law enforcement operation has resulted in the arrest of at least 276 suspects and the dismantling of 9 alleged cryptocurrency scam centers linked to fraudulent investment schemes targeting victims around the world. According to federal authorities, the investigation involved cooperation between the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Division, law enforcement agencies in the United Arab Emirates and Thailand, and China's Ministry of Public Security. Investigators say the criminal organizations operated so-called pig butchering scams, in which fraudsters gained victims' trust through online friendships or romantic relationships before persuading them to invest in fake cryptocurrency platforms. Officials say many victims were encouraged to invest increasingly larger sums, sometimes borrowing money or taking out loans before discovering their funds had disappeared. Authorities report that 275 arrests were made in Dubai, with 1 additional arrest in Thailand. Prosecutors have also filed federal wire fraud and money laundering charges against 6 individuals accused of operating several of the alleged scam networks. Investigators credit financial analysis, victim reports, and information provided by technology companies with helping dismantle the operation. Officials say the investigation remains ongoing, and all criminal charges are allegations. The defendants are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in court. This is Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network. The former owner of a well-known North Carolina wedding venue has pleaded guilty to federal wire fraud after admitting to a scheme that prosecutors say stole more than $1 million from engaged couples and investors. 43-year-old Jason Lotman operated Champagne Manor in Monroe, North Carolina. According to federal prosecutors, between October 2023 and January 2025, he solicited investments by promising guaranteed returns and ownership interests while making false representations about the business's financial condition. Authorities also say Lotman marketed all-inclusive wedding packages that required customers to pay in advance for services such as catering, photography, music, flowers, and hair and makeup. Prosecutors allege those vendors often went unpaid, forcing many couples to pay a second time or scramble to replace services after the venue abruptly closed. Federal investigators say Lotman continued accepting payments even after foreclosure proceedings had begun and while he knew the business was facing closure. Several victims suffered significant financial losses, although some were able to recover a portion of their money through credit card disputes and eventually found alternative wedding venues. Lotman now awaits sentencing. The wire fraud charge carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in federal prison, although the final sentence will be determined by the court. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. The family of an elderly couple who died following a revenge-motivated arson attack in England is speaking out after learning that 2 of those convicted in the case could be released earlier than expected under changes to prison release policies. Sheila Jackson, age 83, and Eric Greener, age 77, died after a fire destroyed their home in St. Helens, Merseyside, in July of last year. During court proceedings, prosecutors said the attack was intended to target Ms. Jackson's son following a dispute over illegal drugs. However, he was away from the home when the fire was deliberately set, leaving the elderly couple trapped inside. Kevin Wheatman and Kylie Maynard were convicted of manslaughter after a jury found they were responsible for the deadly plot. Lee Owens pleaded guilty to manslaughter before trial. A 4th participant died before the case concluded. Family members say they are devastated that 2 of those convicted may serve only about half of their prison sentences because of policies designed to ease prison overcrowding. They argue the possibility of early release undermines justice for the victims. The case has fueled renewed debate across the United Kingdom over sentencing, prison capacity, and balancing rehabilitation with accountability for serious crimes. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. The highly anticipated second-degree murder trial of Courtney Clenney is expected to begin this summer in Florida, as both prosecutors and defense attorneys continue preparing their cases. Clenney is charged in the April 2, 2022 stabbing death of her boyfriend, Christian Abumsali, inside the Miami apartment they shared. She has pleaded not guilty and has remained in custody without bond since her arrest later that year. According to recent court filings, Clenney's attorneys plan to present text messages and testimony they say document a pattern of physical and emotional abuse by Abumsali before his death. The defense argues the evidence supports Clenney's claim that she acted in self-defense during a confrontation. Prosecutors, however, continue pursuing a second-degree murder conviction and are expected to challenge those claims at trial. Both sides have spent recent months conducting depositions and reviewing evidence after the trial was postponed earlier this year. The court has indicated that the case is expected to move forward without further delays. As with all criminal proceedings, the charge against Clenney remains an allegation, and she is presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Actress Melanie Griffith made a rare public appearance in Beverly Hills this week, drawing attention from fans with a youthful look and a meaningful tattoo honoring her family. The 68-year-old actress displayed a crossword-style tattoo on her upper arm featuring the names of her children, Stella, Alexander, and Dakota Johnson, along with her stepson, Jesse. The design replaced the heart-shaped tattoo that once bore the name of her former husband, Antonio Banderas, following their divorce. Griffith and Banderas first met in 1989 and later starred together in the 1995 film Too Much. They married in 1996 and remained together for nearly 2 decades before divorcing in 2015. Despite their separation, the former couple has maintained a friendly relationship. Earlier this year, Banderas publicly described Griffith as his lifelong friend, reflecting the mutual respect they have expressed since their marriage ended. Their daughter, Stella, has reportedly been pursuing a career behind the camera, focusing on filmmaking rather than acting. Griffith's latest appearance offered fans a glimpse of both her enduring style and the close family relationships that continue to define this chapter of her life.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and our audio reports. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.